Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm so excited because I'm going to be reviewing and demoing, doing a full get ready with me using the Chanel Tweed Eyeshadow Palette in the shade number 1, Tweed Cuivre. I decided to pick this one up because it was the one that spoke to me most out of all the releases. So if you want to see a video where I do a full get ready with me using some of my favorite Chanel products and telling you all about my thoughts on this new formula and new palette from Chanel, just keep watching. This is the new Chanel limited edition Tweed Eyeshadow Quad. I decided to pick it up in the shade 01 Tweed Cuivre just to get a feel for the palette. This already sold out completely on Chanel Canada's website, so I'm definitely glad I got my hands on it. It comes with this beautiful tweed packaging that is gorgeous. Usually I'm not a fan of the little packaging that they put the palettes in, but that is just too cute. It is definitely something that I'm going to be keeping just for keepsakes because it is limited edition and it just adds a nice special quality. So I'm going to take a look at the palette. I haven't even swatched this or anything. So of course, I'm just going to take out these little eyeshadow applicators. I never use them anyways. But this is the palette. It is beautiful. So we have 4 shades. We have dark, medium, another medium, and a light. We have the 4 shades swatch here. They are beautiful satins, except for the lightest shade in the palette, which is kind of that gold shade. It is quite metallic. It is almost an eyeshadow topper. The shimmer particles are very sporadic. They aren't very, they're like definitely an intermittent shimmer and definitely more of a sparkly shade. It's not quite a chunky glitter, but you can feel it's not as refined as the other shades in this palette. So that will be nice as a little eyeshadow topper. That's definitely outside my comfort zone a little bit just because it is a little bit more sparkly and shimmery than what I would wear on like a daily basis. But I think you can jazz up a look if you apply this over the top, which is probably what I'll do today. So let's just get started on this eyeshadow quad. I think I'm going to start out in the crease. So I am going to take this shade right here. So it is the second deepest shade. And I'm just going to take a Sonia G. This is a Blender Pro. I'm going to dip into that. So there is obviously no matte shades in this palette, so you're going to have to be comfortable with using shimmery shades in the crease or the outer corner. And I'm totally fine with that. So I'm just going to start by applying this on the outside corner of my eye. Okay, it's actually not as pigmented as I initially thought on a blender brush, which is totally fine with me. I would rather something be more buildable. So I'm just applying this to the outside corner. And then with whatever product is left over, I will just bring that into the crease just ever so slightly. Oh my gosh, okay, I love how soft this is. If you're looking for intense pigmentation, this is not that. It's definitely more of a soft, buildable, very wearable formula. But I love that kind of look. For me, I like something that's more of that natural glam that I can wear on an everyday basis. And this is exactly that. It is extremely, extremely soft, which I am very, very glad. I was worried it would be too intense just by swatching the shades. I was worried they'd go on the eyes kind of like that, but this is beautiful so far. So I don't have any face makeup on currently, but because these are going on so soft, I'm not getting any fallout. So I actually think I could have gone in and done my face makeup first. I'm just someone who really likes a clean look, and I don't like having a single speck of eyeshadow fallout just because I'm too much of a perfectionist. And that's why I just always do my eyes first. And I'm just getting the most beautiful, soft, blended look. This is a very sophisticated look. I feel I have an office job and I would feel comfortable going into the office with this eyeshadow look because it is not over the top. It's not overdone. You're not going to look like you're wearing a ton of makeup. And then I'm going to move on to the next shade. So I'm going to take that deepest shade in the palette, which is a beautiful, it's just like a very nice chocolatey bronze. Again, there is an ever so soft reflection. It's a very continuous shimmer though, so it's not a chunky glitter or anything. It's a very nice satin. So I'm going to just dip into that. And I like this palette because it's definitely neutral, but it's leaning a little bit more warm, and I prefer that kind of color story. So I'm just going to press this all along the upper lash line from outside corner to inside corner. And I'm getting nice pigmentation, but again, it's not too intense, which I really enjoy. I think this kind of look is very flattering. Next, I'm gonna go in with this beautiful bronzy shade. This is like my perfect one and done shade because there's enough intensity for it to be a beautiful one and done shade, but it's not too dark where it's gonna look like a straight up smoky eye when you apply it. And it's, again, a beautiful satin sheen. There are no chunky glitters or anything. It's a very continuous shimmer that is very refined. So I'm just gonna take a Sonia G Builder 2 and apply that all over the lid. This shade is going on beautifully with a flat shader brush. Again, it's not overly pigmented though. I really love everything about this. I love the quality of this. I love how it goes onto the eye softly, but it's very buildable. I love the sheen to it, how it's not over the top. This is really, really lovely. I'm just gonna run over the edges with that blender brush that I first went into to apply that crease shade, just to make sure the edges are softly blended out. And then from here, I'm going to go into the sparkly shade here. And I know that because this is more of a topper shade, it's going to apply best with fingertips. So I'm just gonna go in with my fingertips, and I'm just going to, I like to kind of press it together. And I'm just going to press it onto the lid from here. And I kind of just bounce my fingertip like this over top. Wow, that is quite sparkly. Okay. I have to admit, I don't love that sparkly shade. It's just a little bit too sparkly for me, especially on an everyday basis. But it is nice. Like, I definitely would wear this if I was going out to like a party or something. And this shade, it is quite a yellow gold. So I don't tend to like yellow shades on me personally. It's nice if you like something with sparkle and reflection. I just think it's a little bit too intense for me on a daily basis. So what I'm gonna do, just to kind of soften that, just to make it something that I would wear, I'm gonna go back in with this kind of bronzy shade, and I'm going to go over top of that just to kind of lessen that sparkly shade ever so slightly, just because I have to go out in public today and I don't want to be wearing like sparkly eyeshadow. It's just a little bit too much for me. And then just to get a little bit more pigmentation down, I am just going to take my fingertips into that bronzy shade, and I'm going to go over top. It definitely lessened the sparkle, but I can still see a bit of that glitter fleck through this. That's okay, I'll survive. I'm going to take, again, that bronzy kind of coppery shade, definitely my favorite shade in the palette, and I'm just going to take that on a little pencil brush. And I'm going to sweep that under the lower lash line to add a little bit of color there. And then I am going to dip into the second deepest shade. This kind of, it's like a reddened, it's like an antiqued bronze, I want to say. It has a little bit of red tones in there. And I'm just going to take that and put it right on the outside corner of the lower lash line, just to get a little bit more depth there. I don't want it to be too incredibly smoky, but just a little bit more. And then I'm going to make sure to connect it with that outer corner on the top lid to make sure it all flows. So for mascara, I just went in with my Gucci mascara. I don't think I've talked about this on my channel, but this is something I just tried a few weeks ago, and I'm obsessed with it. I think this is a really great mascara. And I've been really loving the Chanel Beige. This is the Water Fresh Complexion Touch. I've been really enjoying this as a concealer, actually. I like it both as a foundation and concealer, but to use it as a concealer, I apply it in a little bit of a different way. So I start by just applying, not really quite a pump, like half a pump, and I kind of blend it onto my hand a little bit like this. And I'll either go in with just my fingers and apply a little bit under the eye, or I actually will use the brush, which I initially in my review kind of made fun of this brush, but it's actually nice to apply this product. So I'll just go in with a little bit of that on my hand, and I'll apply it under the eyes. And actually this is quite a nice brush to use on the under eye area because it is quite soft. And then I'll just go under the eyes, and then I'll kind of clean up that outside corner a little bit as well. You can use a little bit more of a precise brush, like sometimes I'll just go in with my Sisley brush. This comes with the concealer, and I'll go in with a little bit more product here, and then I'll clean up that outside edge, and I'll kind of bring it into an uplifted shape just so it lifts up my eye a little bit to give me a lifted look instead of having my eyes like droop down. And it's really nice because I don't need to powder this down either, which I really enjoy in a concealer. For me, it's just a must to not require powder just because I think it looks a little bit nicer. And then for foundation, I'm going back to an old favorite. This is the Chanel Sublimage L'Essence de Teint. One of the most beautiful, elegant foundations out there. And I just feel like it's going to pair with this eye look really well because I feel like this is a really elegant, I don't want to call it a smoky eye look, but it's a little bit smokier than what I normally go for. And I just think because this eyeshadow palette is so elegant, this foundation will pair really nicely. And I'm just going to give it a good shake. This is in the shade B40. So with this, again, I like to apply to the palm of my hand. So if you're someone that likes a medium coverage with a really beautiful natural finish, it has like a very nice velvet finish to it. It's not too dewy, it's not too matte, it's that perfect, I think I said it in my last favorites video, it's that perfect Goldilocks foundation where it's that perfect level of coverage and that perfect finish on the skin. It is just so beautiful. It wears extremely well. It also has this really great technology where it blurs and filters your skin. Just such a great one. And if you have dry skin, you don't actually require powder with this one. It's just so beautiful. You can't actually detect makeup sitting on top of your skin, which is really nice. So this makes this a great in-person foundation. So that is foundation on. Every time I wear this foundation, I am reminded how much I love it. It's just so beautiful. And then I just went in and tight-lined with this Hourglass. This is the Voyeur Waterproof Gel Eyeliner in the shade Obsidian, which is just black. So I went and tight-lined my upper waterline. I'm not doing that on camera because that is just too much. And then I'm just going to touch up the lower lash line a little bit. So I'm going to dip back into that bronze shade, just because with concealer going over top of the eyeshadow, sometimes you can miss a little bit of that eyeshadow. So I'm just going in with that pencil brush and just applying a little bit of that to the lower lash line again, from outer corner inwards. I'm going to go in with bronzer next. This is Chanel Le Beige Oversize Healthy Glow Sunkissed Powder in the shade Sunkissed Medium. I would get this while you can get your hands on it. Seriously, this has become my #1 favorite bronzer. It is already sold out in Canada. You in the US, while you have the opportunity, I would definitely grab it. This is just so beautiful. It is a powder bronzer that has this blurring technology. So when you apply it to your face, it gives this really beautiful filtered effect that blends right into the skin. It has this almost creamy quality to it, where it is a powder product, but it's like a powder to cream product where it just melts right in. So I'm taking this on a Rephr 22 brush. So I will show you how I use it because when you initially go into this bronzer, it is quite powdery. So I like to dip in, I don't know, however many times that was, like 10 times. I tap off the excess and then I dip off that excess product on the back of my hand just to ensure it doesn't go in with too much pigmentation on my face right away. And then I just start at the forehead, along the hairline, and just blend it on top of the skin. When I don't really blend, like, I don't know, sweeping it over my face, I like to kind of pounce that product into my skin because then it's not going to disrupt any foundation or anything underneath. I feel like if I blend like this, I just get a textured look to my skin. But if I want everything really blended into the skin, I kind of pounce that product into the skin. I hope that makes sense, but I just adore this bronzer. It is such a fantastic formula. It is so flattering. Before I do move on to highlighter, I am actually just going to attempt to go into the inner corner with this really shimmery shade here. I feel like this is going to be too, it's quite chunky. I don't think this is gonna look really good on the inner corner, but I'm gonna try it. No. It's too chunky for the inner corner, at least for me. So what I'm going to do is get off that excess product, and then I'm going to dip into the highlighter I'm using. This is the Chantecaille Sunbeam Cheek and Eye Shade in the shade Ray. This is another amazing product, and I'm going to go over top of that to dull down that really intense glittery shade. I'm just going to apply that right to the inside corner, like the inside crease almost of my eye. Yeah, that's better. And then I am going to take that highlighter on a Sonia G mini cheek brush, and I'm going to apply this to the tops of the cheekbones. I really like this because this just adds a glow and a shine to your skin. It literally looks like your cheekbones are just glowing and wet. It doesn't look like a metallic highlighter or anything. It just gives the most beautiful lit from within glow. Now, because the eyes are a little bit more smoky, I'm not going to go in with the Chanel Water Fresh blush just because the shade I have is quite punchy, and I feel like because the eyes are a little bit smokier, it's going to be too intense with a punchy blush. So I'm going to keep the cheeks really neutral. I'm going in with the Clé de Peau. This is the number 105 blush. This is just the refill. And I like to just, maybe I'll switch it up. I'm going to just dip into this kind of rosebud shade, so the deeper shade. I'm going to dip into that first, and I'm going to apply that to the cheeks. And again, I feel like this formula is actually quite similar to the Chanel bronzer, where it has that quality where it's like a powder to cream formula and really it melts right in. It's gorgeous. And then I am going to dip into this brighter kind of peachy tone. So I'm just going to dip my little blush brush in there, tap off the excess. And then with that shade, I'm just going to focus that more on the very front of my cheeks, just to bring a little bit more color to that area. And I like the effect it adds. It almost adds a little like plump effect. That doesn't sound very nice, but it makes you look more youthful when you have a little bit more color there. Here I'm just going to finish off the skin by going into the Clé de Peau Refining Pressed Powder. I like to do this to finish off my looks, just to really refine everything, to add that really soft focus, filtered effect on the skin. I just like to dip into that powder, and then I tap off the excess, and then I just go into the areas where I require powder, so I do not powder all over my face. I only apply this powder where I want that really blurred look. So for me, that's just in the front of my cheeks here, where most of your pores are. And then I like to go a little bit in the center of the forehead and a little bit on the chin here. Sometimes I'll take the excess just around the nose, but that is it. For lips, I'm just gonna finish off the look using the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Lip Cheat. And I'm just going to line the lips. And then over top, just going in with the Chanel Rouge Coco Gloss in the shade 804 Rose Naif. So just applying that over the lips as my lip color. And then what I like to do with a lip gloss or any lip shade is I like to really blend it into the lips, because I'm a freak and I don't like just lip products sitting on my lips. I feel like it looks too overdone. So I like to almost like wipe off that product. I just like my lips to look a little bit more lived in, especially when I have a full makeup look, like when I have my eyes done and I have bronzer and blush and all that stuff. I just feel like it looks too overdone if I have all the makeup on. Like if I have lips, eyes, and face, it's just too much. So I like to make my lips look a little bit more lived in. So that is the final makeup look. This is everything complete together. So I actually do like the eyes a lot more now that my full makeup is complete. I don't think it looks as intense as I initially thought it did. I almost feel like the glittery shade kind of has this ability where it almost starts to melt into the eyes a little bit more as you wear it, so it doesn't look as intense. But I also did go over top of it with this more shimmery shade, so it did kind of calm that down. But now that my eye look is completely complete, fully done, I do like the full look together, and I don't feel like it looks like too much, especially if I were going out for the evening. I do think it is very appropriate and very beautiful. I love how this makes my eye color pop. I think this is beautiful if you have any kind of eye color, but especially for blue eyes, I think it really makes your eye color pop, because these tones are more on the warm side. They have some red tones to them. They're a little more on the coppery warm side, so they will make your eyes stand out. I really love this formula because, like I said, when you apply it with a brush, even though these swatches here look a little bit more intense, when you apply it with a brush, it goes on more soft and subtly. They're incredibly buttery and very easy to blend. If you're a beginner, you will have no issue with this palette because it was incredibly easy to blend and apply. It built up really beautifully. It, like I said, it doesn't go on too harsh or too intense. So some people will probably not like that because they're gonna find that they're not gonna get enough pigmentation. But I'm someone who likes really soft, subtle makeup. I like makeup that looks really beautiful in person, where you can kind of wear it for any occasion and it's not going to look like you are wearing too much makeup product. So for me, this is something that I think is extremely flattering and that I will be very comfortable wearing, especially for a daily basis. Like I said, this one shade, I have to be honest, I'm not obsessed with it. I wish this was more of a satin shade, and I wish it definitely was still this light tone. I just wish it had more of a shimmer finish versus a glittery, sparkly finish. But I know a lot of people like these kind of eyeshadow toppers, so I do understand why they put it in there. Just for my personal taste, I would have preferred something with a more consistent, more refined shimmer to it versus this eyeshadow topper. but I still think this palette is worth it. I'm very happy that I have it in my collection. This is just a classic piece that I would have been upset with if I didn't purchase at least one. I am tempted to go back and get the number 4 shade because it looks like a really sophisticated palette as well. But like I said, these shades, I feel like they're very sophisticated, they're elegant, they're classy, they're not too much, they're not over the top. So really, really happy with this palette in general. I do want to just show you in comparison to some of the eyeshadow palettes you might think are similar. So this is in comparison to the Le Beige Healthy Glow Natural Eyeshadow Palette in the shade Intense. So if you can see, these shades are actually quite different. They're more deep neutral tones and they have some green tones to them, where this is more of like an antiqued kind of reddened color story. So they definitely are different. The formulas are completely different as well. This one does have more intensity and is more powdery, where this one's just very sophisticated and buildable. And then of course we have the Mediterranean Quad from, when was this released? At the beginning of the year. But this is very, very subdued in comparison. I feel like this is the more intense version of this palette. Now these formulas are definitely different though. This is a baked gelée. You can use these wet or dry, and they're very soft and subdued. So they go on more sheer on the eyes. They are definitely, I guess you could say, a more buildable formula where you really need to build them up to get more intensity. This one definitely has a bit more intensity, but it's not an intense eyeshadow palette. These are still incredibly buildable. This just has a bit more pigmentation in comparison to the Mediterranean. So they're both neutral, but this one is way more subdued than this one. This just offers a little bit more intensity, and I am glad that I have them both in my collection, honestly, because I just love neutrals. I love this color story. It is gorgeous. So those are my thoughts on the Tweed Eyeshadow Quad. Please let me know if you are planning to pick up anything from this collection or if you already have. I would love to know your thoughts on this collection. Please let me know down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you like it. And I'll see you in my next video.